Okay, so now I have a hot plate here. In a bind, you can do this with a cigarette lighter, but it's a little harder. So this should not be super hot. It's just going to be probably something that's a little too hot to touch, but not scalding hot. We want to melt this gelatin-based stain, but we don't want to boil it because that will introduce a lot of air bubbles, and it just makes the slide then hard to look at under the microscope. So I'm gonna put this slide here, and I'm gonna watch it very carefully. It's gonna start to melt like a pat of butter in a frying pan, and I'm gonna pull it off as soon as it looks like it's all liquid, and again it will very quickly start to bubble, and that's too long, and then you have a slide full of little air bubbles, and it's hard to look at. So once I do that, I have a cover slip here, and I'm gonna start lay it down on one side and then slowly lower it down. Now we're going to leave it alone, and the pollen stain will spread. If you get the right, you have a nice size load, and you get the right amount of the pollen stain, it should spread out, but it shouldn't be really thick. So what we don't want to look like a thick sandwich of pollen stain in between the slide and the cover slip. We want it to be really a very thin layer, and it is. So once you do this, the slide can be viewed immediately. The stain is very light. You don't have to stain pollen to look at it under the microscope, but what doing this allows you to do is make a reference collection from all the flowering plants in an area. So instead of just taking pollen from the bee like we did, you can also have a set of pollens that you've made from flowers in the area where you collected the bee, and this can serve as a reference set that you can use to identify the pollens that are in the bee's pollen load.